Over the course of the month, we've been dealing with tests and health checks for women that they need to do, what is required, and then what they can do after those tests. We have Dr. Monisola or Adanijo, the co-founder of Naven Healthcare, who has been taking that so far this month. It is great to have you. Oh, welcome.
Thank you so much.
This is our fifth. Yeah, it's January. January. What's today's date? Yes, 30th. One more day. Okay, but let's have a recap. This is the final episode we're having. What have we been talking about this month so far?
We've been talking about health checks.
Okay.
We talked about the importance of health checks, why you need to get them done. We talked about general health checks for everyone. We talked about health checks in females. We talked about health checks in males.
Okay. So it wasn't only for females. Okay. Good.
And today we're talking about what to do after you've done this test, because that's extremely important. All
right. So I will be talking now because I have someone who just took a test, and I will be talking from as though it was, personal experience. Now you've done the test. For whatever result you've had and all of that, and let's say your fears are confirmed. What next?
Okay, so for many people, they don't even go for the results.
They don't go for the results?
Nope. Some people do the tests and don't come back for the results because of these fears you're talking about. Okay. So when you do go and collect the results, and it's two ways. The results are either perfectly normal, and they're like, okay, you're fine, good, go. But if there's a problem, like you said, first of all, you need to meet someone to interpret the test for you. Because many times when you see the results, you don't even know what the doctor is talking about.
Shouldn't the interpretation of the test come with the results?
So if I give you a result that says hyperlipidemia, do you know what it means?
I don't.
Exactly. So that's why you need to see a physician.
Another one different from the person that did the test?
Well, for some people that go to labs, for example, to do their test, they may need a doctor to interpret for them. Because not everybody goes to hospital.
Okay, now let me talk from this personal experience because we did this test and it was quite expensive. I mean, hundreds of thousands and all of that. And then you do this test and then you see the symptoms and then the test comes like you are normal. The test comes everything normal, but you're still feeling these serious symptoms. Talking of tests running into 200 to 300,000. And then they say, you're okay, there's nothing that is so. But you are experiencing some very serious symptoms. You need to go for a second opinion there or something. And it's not just a test that you can go for a second opinion. And like I said, it's expensive. When you've done this kind of test and nothing, and they say you're okay, but you still feel the symptoms.
So it's two ways. You either did the wrong test, or there's nothing physically wrong with you. Sometimes psychological illnesses may manifest as symptoms that you cannot see physically. In that situation, you may need to either take a second opinion or see another kind of doctor.
What other kind of doctor?
A psychological doctor.
A psychological doctor.
A therapist.
A therapist. This kind of opinion. Okay, this is note taken. I would take note of this. But we're in a case where a patient doesn't come back to get the result. Are you saying it doesn't behove on the doctor to ensure that they get this particular test results? They don't. I mean, if the person has paid, can't it be sent maybe via email or something like that? Such a way that this person I'm talking about, before they went for the test, they were very scared. They people that are just scared of the hospital environment. I used to be. I probably still am for a while. They don't like that feel of being in that place, and so it's possible that they might not want to go back. So, is there any way to ensure that these tests are, especially, I know that, for a physician or a lab, like you said, sometimes tests are done in a lab, they might not have that responsibility to ensure. But what else can a physician or a lab consultant do after the test to ensure that, the person gets...
So I think really it comes to counseling before the test.
Okay.
If you allay the patient's fears, most likely they would come back for the results. Now, to be honest, probably in Nigeria, I can't say for other parts of the world, your physician won't chase you down with the results unless there's a serious issue. Unless maybe there's a life-threatening problem, then they'll be like, oh my God, get Mr. XYZ on the phone.
On the phone, yeah.
So if it's an annual health check, for example, most of the time, there may not be anything serious. They may not call you. That's the truth. Unless there's a big issue, okay? And then when you are called, please show up at the hospital. Let them tell you what they have to say. Because it's important to know these things. Many people would rather be ignorant and not know what happens to their test.
The biggest insurance is the blood of Jesus.
For some people, ignorance is bliss, but not in healthcare. So you need to know what the result says. and you need to know what to do about whatever the results say. So if you need to see another doctor, if you need some medication, if you need some kind of further testing or whatever, it's important to know.
And okay, and where it gets to this point now, after you've gotten the test and then you've tried to do, like you said, if it's an expensive thing, and then you know how things can be at this particular period. Are there some people resort to maybe traditional methods that now comes in when they see that they can't they can't afford, as it were, Western medicine, as it were. In those situations, what would you advise in those particular situations?
First of all, traditional medicine is not cheap. It's a misconception that it's cheaper than regular medicine. It's really not. And honestly, if you do your tests and they say it's normal and you still feel a kind of way, most likely whatever it is that is wrong with you either hasn't been diagnosed yet by this person,
properly, yeah,
or whatever is wrong with you, like I said, is a psychological problem manifested as a physical illness. It happens all the time. And in that case, you need to see another kind of
doctor, like you mentioned. Okay, now what if, this is where nothing happens. What if you actually have found out there's something wrong with you?
Right.
And they call you to come back, but it's something that maybe financially you cannot afford. And then you now want to go through a cheaper method in that particular way.
You'll pay for it eventually. Because the truth is that, not to, rubbish anybody's profession, but, for a lot of these illnesses, there are really no authentic herbal solutions, to be honest.
But
and many of these patients...
Proponents of this will tell you that our parents live longer.
Well, I've been a doctor for 24 years, and I am yet to see, in my experience, someone that says, oh, this thing killed me. Now, our parents lived better because of their lifestyle.
Very true.
They ate less salt, they ate less fat, they ate less
sugar.
They moved
more than we did.
They moved more. That's why they lived longer, not because some Baba somewhere did something.
Did something to them. All right, thank you very much, Doctor. Do you have any final words? I mean, this is where we're running it up now to people out there who want to go for a test, who are scared of it. How do you get them not to... that fear is one very major thing. What word would you have to say?
Okay, so my final word is that your health is important. Whether or not you feel symptoms, you need to check yourself. Now,
whether or not you feel symptoms.
You need to do your annual medical. Now, fear should not be a barrier, because whether you're scared or not, whether you know about it or not, whatever is happening in your body is happening, regardless of how you feel. So it's important you know.
I love this. We should cut this out, put it on social media, have it on repeat. Thank you very much, Doctor.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
All right. Now let's head over to the kitchen. And MM, what do you have for us? What's going on?